All right. Those intro credits that we love so much. Thank you once again to Jaredith Art. Am I butchering it now? Am I the
You
one
did it
that's
better than
butchering
me.
it? Really? Okay. Thank you so much. Really, really loved being able to show off that amazing art, and I think the personal touch with impersonating Finnegan doing the sketch is just so sweet. So sweet. Finnegan appreciates it. I know he does. Anyways, thank you again. Let's get rolling on this game that we love to do. It is time for group therapy. Maybe like a little quick group therapy to check in with all the characters and see how they are feeling about what has just happened. Who would like to start?
Shall I go first again?
Sure. Yeah, it's an Ellie show.
A little bit baffled. Doesn't really know how to deal with the fact that Ren clearly doesn't recognize her. I think she's just at like peak anger right now. She came out of the whole like vision, like this is your best life vision, just being like sassy and saying that she's gonna leave this place with both Ren and Siren's head. She's angry. Basically, that's her main feeling right now, and also worried about Ren and doesn't understand why he doesn't recognize him. Pretty much it.
Okay, I will go with Eigner. Eigner is getting to this point where he's like, I think I mentioned in the last session that he was really in this kind of, his blinders were on, he was in this like complete the mission kind of zone. And he's still kind of in that mindset, but he's starting to open up a little bit and be a little bit more perceptive to what's happening. And he especially is not sure what to think about Ellie's state right now. I just think it's been a weird transition for him. Like he's been noticing that Ellie has been becoming way more like out there in the front and way more like taking charge and saying like this is what we're gonna do, this is the plan. And Ignor's had a hard time like learning how to deal with that because he has historically been kind of the guy in charge, kind of the guy that says this is the plan. So he's been struggling with it on that level. But then with this, he's starting to see how much rage that Ellie has at the moment, and he's not sure what to do with that either. I think maybe he's starting to realize that he better just step aside and let her do her wrecking ball thing that she wants to do, and yeah. So he's just he's in this slightly more cautious situation at the moment where he's going to try and support. He's going to, um, but but he's mostly just going to observe and see what happens. Is Ellie really going to rip this gal's head off? Is she really going to do that? Eigner is curious to see.
Yeah, Leah has two things. Um, one is definitely the whole, like, she's watching Ellie and trying to support her. And I feel like there's definitely been a stronger build of rapport between the two of them over the past couple of sessions. Like, she definitely now views Ellie as like a little sister. She also still kind of, at least partially, thinks of Ellie as like a baby, because Leah's 300 something years old and Ellie is in her 20s. So, hang on. But she's also trying to defer to Ellie in this situation because this is Ellie's brother and this whole thing is for Ellie. And so she's planning on taking a step back and letting Ellie do what she needs to do. Even if, like, you know, deep down, Leah's probably thinking a little bit, I don't, this is like letting a child be in charge. No, 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 it's fine. It's fine. I trust her. This is fine. um, but the other thing is that Leah has, over the course of especially this particular adventure, been working very hard to clamp down on her desires to, like, get involved and fix things using her powers. So there have been multiple occasions when she could have used them, especially the ones that are more questionable, like the charming, dominating, that sort of thing. And she deliberately chose not to. And then, of course, she broke that just in the last short part of last session with Darun, but she felt like it was a worthy enough cause that she needed to wrestle him away from the influence of someone who obviously meant his death. So again, she does this thing where she only uses it if she thinks she's going to save someone. And we'll see if there are consequences about that. But she hasn't started to feel guilty about it yet because she's still feeling like this is what needed to happen. And she also, I think she likes Darun a lot, particularly because he calls her out on her powers. And he has, like, grasped in a way that her companions never really understood, like the two sides of it, or and just like the nature of her power. I think he seems to have a better and more intuitive understanding of what she struggles with. So even though he, like, looks at her sideways, she actually appreciates that about him. So that's Leah.
All right.
So, yeah, we'll just pick it up. You stepped into the room. So Ellie had seen the symbol that said Ren's name, placed her hand on it, thinking of him. It had opened into a doorway leading into this chamber, like what she'd seen in his dream, with dwarven runes along the walls that just spelled out the basic amenities needed to live a life. And sitting at a desk was a young man who looked up at you as you entered, and Ellie recognized this as being 17-year-old Ren. And he looked up at you all and asked, who are you?
Leah looks at Ellie.
I think she was saying, Ren?
Yes?
You don't recognize me.
Are you a new servant? Am I being summoned again?
No. I'm Ellie.
Well, I'm Ren. You know that, obviously. It's wonderful to meet you. He steps up, starts to make his way towards you, putting out his hand as if to greet you. Welcome to my chambers.
She kind of nervously, like, steps up closer to him, and then, like, with a kind of shaking hand, like, actually goes to sort of take his hand, and then just sort of looks down at it, and says, she took me from your memory. And then, like, my hand, like, tightens on his like anger, like maybe a little bit too tight.
He like curls his brow, or furrows his brow, and typically you shake it. But I'm sorry, what? Who took you from my memory?
That woman.
I'm afraid you must be mistaking me for someone else. Has am, I'm not even sure why you're here. These are my private chambers. Usually I'm well informed before I have any visitors. Uh, can I do something for you? Am I being summoned? Is this a summons?
No.
Okay. Um, I do have plenty of studying to do, and I don't mean to be rude. I understand that it is outside of my, my training to show abruptness, but I got a lot to do, and I'm just afraid I don't see any reason for any of you to be here. So if you're here to clean, be my guest, but there's really not much to take care of.
Eigner cast detect magic.
Yeah. The entirety of this room is emanating all sorts of magic, but Ren himself is a complex weave of different schools of magic, to the point that pulling out any particular thread amongst them is beyond what you are capable of doing.
So you're saying it would be a bad idea to pick a random school of magic within Ren and then dispel the effect.
You have no idea what cons would happen if you did, because you're not even sure which schools of magic he's being affected by. There are just too many intermingled.
Word.
Oh, go on.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
No, I want to see what Ellie does next.
Okay. Like still holds to like she's refused to like let go of his hand in this like vice grip now. And she like goes to, like pull him closer to her so they're like face to face. I guess if he's probably that tall, maybe taller than her.
He probably is taller than her. I hadn't given this a whole lot of thought, and I'm curious to see how you would describe him. What does Ren look like at 17?
I guess I guess I picture him with like kind of longer hair, like it would be like scruffy, but maybe like because the situation he's in, it's like combed back, like neatly, you know.
Mhm.
But I guess like he would still probably look quite young. I reckon they both have kind of baby faces. But other than that, I don't really.
And he's wearing clothes that fall in line with what you've seen many of the dwarves wearing. Very just functional, but also well-kept clothes. Short-sleeved, and you can clearly see all the bits of the mechanical aspects of his new arm.
That's what I was going to ask.
Mhm.
If he's got a new arm.
He does, yeah. It falls in line very well with a lot of the mechanical, the structures of the Warforged, but much more specifically designed for human use and very high quality. Is it his right arm or his left arm that he lost?
I can't remember.
An arm.
I don't know.
An arm.
Yeah, that probably wasn't
Okay.
specified. The one I'm not shaking, I imagine.
So we'll call it his left then, because if he's right-handed, typically he'd be shaking with the right hand. He's got a slight bit of stubble, like any teenager who can grow a little bit of a beard, who's kind of proud of it. But Agnes puts his to shame.
So like I think she'll like pull him like into her, so like down a little bit, so almost like stagger like to face her. And says, you don't remember any of your family.
He just kind of at first he looks like he's about ready to pull away from you, just and you can see his lips begin to form some kind of like angry retort, and then he looks down at you really hard. He says, I never had a family. They all died before I really was able to form memories of them.
Fuck. She started like, yeah, as she would say that, she was like, fuck, and shaking her head.
I think at this point Leah is seriously pissed off, and I'm not sure how good her control is at the moment. So there might be a little bit of anger leaching into the room, because this is just a bridge too far. She is really angry on Ren and Ellie's behalf now.
Has the door behind us closed, or is it still open?
It will have closed if everyone walked into the room.
Yeah.
So on that note, it is still open because Darun is standing in the doorway.
I will kind of bark over my shoulder. Darun, get in here and close the door.
Yeah, and he'll step in curtly and then place a hand on Leah's shoulder. Just kind of a reassuring hand, and you can feel like the tenseness in his fingers, as though your anger is leaching into him slightly.
No, she's gonna feel apologetic about that, but the rage is still there. Can't help.
Eigner will say to Ellie, kind of under his breath, even though he realizes that Ren will probably hear it too, because he's right there. But Eigner will say to Ellie, he is completely chock full of magic. I don't even know if we should believe what he's saying. Who knows if it could be, I don't know, planted. He's confused. Eigner doesn't know what to say.
Ellie nods and then eventually adds, thank you. Thank you.
Word.
Ren kind of looks at his eyes track back towards Eigner as he kind of pulls his face a little bit away from Ellie, standing up to his full height, and he stands about a head taller than Ellie. And then he looks down at you and says, "Your name is Ellie." And then for a moment he just kind of like wavers. His eyes just sort of unfocus and waver in this state. He's silent for a little longer than what would be comfortable. And then he smiles politely and shakes your hand. "Well, Ellie, it's very wonderful to meet you. Please, make yourselves at home. I'm going to continue my studies." And he turns to make his way back to his desk.
As he starts to turn, can I grab hold of his new arm and sort of like pull it back towards me?
Yeah, and he turns back, the polite smile again.
Can I like
Yes.
pull up the sleeve? I'm not even asking. I just like pull up the sleeve and look at it. Presume it's the
Yeah.
sleeve.
Excuse me, but I really need to be back to studying, and this is growing quite uncomfortable.
How did you get this?
With the arm.
Yes.
It was made for me by the Master Dwarves.
When?
Oh, I don't know, when I was 9, 10, so what's that, 7 years ago?
Do you remember how you lost your arm?
don't. I remember there being some sort of explosion of some sort. I believe it's in the same accident that may have killed my family, but I don't even know. That seems to. I should. Why? Why are you asking me these things?
Because. Oh, I'm just worried that he's gonna like alert someone. Like I'm treading really carefully with this because I want to be like, because Ren, not everything here is what you think it is. I've got a lot to tell you. But maybe not right now. She looks like actually hurt by this though. Like she wants to be like throwing her arms around him and stuff, but she is holding back.
Well, look, I know I've been explaining how important my studies are, but you seem familiar to me, and I don't. You've piqued my curiosity. Please, let's take the time. Explain to me what isn't as it appears to be.
Okay. Can I lead him to like go and sit down and like I don't know, but do like see if there's another thing for like a chair or like a sofa or something.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, you can activate different runes throughout the room to produce areas to sit.
I say to Leah and Eigner as I do this, search the room, see if there's anything unusual or doors to other places. I don't know. Eigner can't read. If you'd like trace your fingers over them, you'll be able to tell what the room.
I mean, they got Braille here, right?
Yeah.
They're like a progressive society that cares about blind people, and they
carved
have
it.
Braille dwarven runes, right?
Dwarves invented Braille, obviously.
Duh. Duh. Yeah, I mean everything's engraved. It's a good point. Yeah.
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 So tell him to start like searching the room, trying to find anything while I take him over.
Eigner's particular strategy in doing so is the very classic trick of going over the walls and knocking on them and listening to see if there's like hollow spaces and whatnot. But because of Eigner's super hearing and all of sorts of super senses, you should be able to get a good idea if there's some sneaky little hidden rooms or anything.
Leah will just use
Yeah,
her, but since she can't read Dwarven, she will be much less useful.
Also, Eigner can read Dwarven. Just
I
saying.
know.
Just saying.
Yep, and you also have a dwarf with you. Yeah, so, Agner, make your investigation check.
Can we make it a wisdom investigation check instead of an intelligence investigation check? Is that cool? Is that not cool? You could tell me whatever you want.
Maybe advantage because Daroon's helping.
I think you can have advantage.
Well, I was
yeah.
already going to have advantage because it's based off of my senses that are not sight.
Oh. Yeah, no, just stick with the regular investigation.
Nice.
I can't
Okay,
see
cool.
any reason why it would be.
Fine. Mr. Poopy Pants DM. I'm just playing. Just
Mr.
playing with
yes,
you.
but no.
I'm just playing. I got Old Blue on my side. Call my lucky D20 Old Blue for anyone who doesn't know. Old Blue got me an 18, so that's going to be what it is, 18.
All right. While you're investigating, I would like to know what Ellie has to say.
I'm going to be right back.
Okay, so pulls him like to sit him down, and then sort of sit and face him. Well, I guess start from the beginning. You think that you lost your arm 7 years ago, yeah?
I did lose my arm 7 years ago. Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid to tell you that it was. I don't know when it was. Less than how long ago was it? Actually?
Months ago?
Yeah,
I think it was a months ago.
a few months ago. She'll give him a specific. She'll probably know the exact amount of time.
Yeah.
For me, and for my friends, and for everyone outside of, well, potentially this room, I'm not sure. It's been just 3-4 months, whatever it is. And I remember exactly how you lost your arm because I was there. And when your family isn't dead at all, your mother and father are at home and happy and living a normal life, and well, I am your sister, and I have come to save you.
And he just kind of gives you a stern look, almost on the realm of anger. That can't be true. And frankly, I don't know who you are and why you would be coming here and telling me these things, but I've seen Master Aspen and Master Parthis every day for the past 7 years, and Madrid Ellis comes through all the while to see after me and bring me food and drinks, and they've aged the 7 years, and you're the first strangers that I've seen, and I've never seen your faces before. Why should I believe what you say when the world around me is clearly changing? And this is just, look, you're either very, very creative and are pulling an elaborate prank on me, or you're just mad.
I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but when I last saw you, you were 10 years old. You had climbed onto the top of a building that had a small child in it who was struggling with their powers, and I was in there trying to save the child, and an explosion happened, and you fell from the roof and you lost your arm. The dwarves took you into a hospital. They had you in their city for weeks, which turned into months. I wrote to you. I wrote letters. I know that you got them because I got one back in the beginning. I don't know what they did, but they did something, and it's got something to do with that woman.
There you go. There you are. That woman. Who is that woman? Are you talking of Siren? Because I will not have someone speak ill of her. Not in front of me, and not in this place.
Damn. Touched a nerve.
Sort of grits her teeth. How old is she, Ren?
What relevance is that?
Well, you're 17. It's relevant. I've seen her. She doesn't look 17.
I'm a man. All right. I'm old enough to
mean,
know
you're 17.
what I want, and I am being groomed for the Night Council. It doesn't matter someone's age. I can have whatever I want, when I want, if I want it.
Except freedom.
I am absolutely free. And as he begins to recount those things that make him free, which sound as though someone is talking about how free they are to walk about their own castle, Eigner, as you are feeling these different runes, and actually as you feel them and begin to sort of piece out what they are, they manifest. So like you occasionally bring like a bed into play or a table into place just by like feeling it and piecing the word together.
Whoops.
But as soon as you kind of realize that and no longer want it, it disappears. And then Darun says, Eigner, why don't you come look at this? It's something I haven't seen before.
All right.
And as you kind of make your attention over there, these are some strange structure runes, aren't they? And as you're feeling them, I would like you to roll me a religion check.
Sick. Old Blue. Rolled me a 17. Old Blue killing it again. So that's going to be a 22 total.
Okay. So you know enough about divination magic to recognize this as a rune for a divination spell. But I don't know how much knowledge you have in divination.
Well, I have some divination spells prepared, if that counts for anything.
All right. Well, I just don't know which kind of spells you know, but yeah, I think that it goes along the lines of it's something in the way of scrying.
So it's like clairvoyance, pretty much.
Yeah.
I have clairvoyance prepared, so if there's like any kind of intuitive sense or connection that Eigner can draw from that, or if the only if the only thing he gets is that like this is scrying magic, then that's helpful for him as well.
Yeah. I gotta look up what clairvoyance does, because I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Well, it's essentially like you get to place a sensor like a really far away. It's an invisible sensor, but you can only choose between hearing or seeing. So with Eigner, obviously only be hearing. But I mean,
gotcha.
That's a whole can of worms I don't want to get into.
That is exactly the kind of magic that this spell would fall in line to allowing you to do. But specifically, this one would go beyond that. The limitations of just hearing and seeing aren't there.
Word. So I also probably maybe still have my detect magic going on as well. Do I see that it is an active sensor?
Yeah, since that's going on, you do see that it is currently active.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do, and Eigner will do these things in a very quick and decisive and confident manner, is that he's going to put his hand over the hole where the sensor is with the carving and everything. He's going to put his hand over it, and he's going to swear under his breath loud enough that that Darun can hear the frustration in it. And then Eigner's going to spend a 3rd level spell slot to cancel and dispel clairvoyance, because clairvoyance is also a 3rd level spell slot. So it'll just go 1-to-1 and cancel the thing. And then he's going to walk a couple of steps over to Ellie, and in a very like stressed out voice, he'll say, Ellie, we have a problem, but I kind of took care of it. There's an active scrying excuse me. There was an active scrying sensor in the corner over there. We were being watched. We were being listened to. They know we're here.
I can't sound surprised. Good work, though. Deactivating it. I mean, I presume that's just in here to watch you, Ren, all the time. Anyway.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was talking to a kid. Right. Say the last part again?
So Eigner pointed out the whole scrying thing, and Ellie says, well, I'm not surprised, but I presume they have that in here watching you all the time, Ren.
He looks at you. Why would they need to watch me?
Because people watch prisoners.
I'm not a prisoner. I just told you. I can make my way about wherever I want to go. I can visit the kitchens and speak with Madrid.
Okay, well, if you can go anywhere you want, then leave with us now.
But why? Why would I leave when everything I need is right here?
She just kind of shakes her head, and then we'll just say, okay, I'm clearly not going to get through to you right now. Where is she?
I imagine she'd be within her own chambers. I'm not 100%. And then before he finishes his sentence, the door opens again, and standing at the door is a hunched over, aged dwarf with a long white beard that goes down to his knees. He wears graying robes that are crisscross patterned with small golden runes, and his eyes are mostly white with cataract, but he makes his way into the room as though he knows exactly where he's doing, and bows and says, "Sir, the mistress is beckoning for you."
I step in front of Ren, and say, he's not going to anyone right now.
Well, I believe the master is the one who gets to make these decisions, not you.
Not anymore.
Ren looks at you and, Master Parthas, excuse them. They don't understand the whole protocols around here. They're new servants. I would like to bring them to the mistress and have her evaluate. Do you think that would work? And Parthas looks at you all, his white eyes just setting on each of you, clear mistrust in them. I don't think that's such a good idea, sir.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sure she is expecting us.
Well, I do think it best if I show you the way out.
No. Let's go. If the mistress is calling for Ren, we better not keep her waiting, had we?
I suppose that would do just fine if that's what the master wishes. And Ren stands up very regal, and brushes the wrinkles out from his shirt, and makes his way to the door. As he does, Parthas steps out of his way and sets his eyes on each of you as you follow Ren out.
I am very close to Ren. I don't really want him to be in front, to be honest.
With the new voice that Eigner has not been able to see the figure of, ironically, the character looks very similar to the old form that Eigner had taken when he was a
a
dwarven
brand
old man.
new little cleric who wanted to use his spells in fun ways.
But you do just smell like the mildewy scent of clothes that have been sitting in a closet for way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And just the smell of mothballs.
Do I smell the stench of undeath?
You don't.
Okay, good.
But as your magical powers are outstretched, you do see that this figure that you haven't really connected with before is is shrouded in illusory magic.
I thought he might be. That fake aging,
Well, I want to.
Dispel it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go all buck wild with dispelling everything, but I only have so many spell slots. Uh, well, I will. I will also tell that to Ellie, and I'll walk up to Ellie and try and whisper to her, and just say, um, even even the old dwarf there is covered in illusion magic. We can't trust anything we see or hear in this place.
Yeah, you're completely right. They've clearly cast illusions on everyone and everything to make him think he's been here for that long. Leave it on. We'll leave it on him for now, but perhaps it will be a way to prove what I'm saying. Although he might just think we're then casting an illusion spell on him.
Ah,
I don't know.
that's
We'll
right.
see.
It could be tricky. Could be tricky.
Yeah,
Well, shucks.
see how it plays out, I guess.
Leah will quietly step up to Ellie and very quietly say, "Do you want me to try to see if I can break whatever's on him? I don't know if it would work. It may. Something strange happened with not when I did it before, so I don't know how dangerous it is."
Well, Eigner said that he can see a lot of magic on him. Um,
He's filled
I
with it.
think, yeah, I think for now we don't touch anything until we see this person. You can tell, you can hear the swear words that she's like holding back. The B
All the
word
words
is-
she's
yeah,
not saying.
Yeah. And we will seek that audience, and see what happens, I guess. But yes, I do think that might be the way to do this eventually. It's very posh tonight. I don't know why her voice is something really posh tonight. Yeah.
Well, Ren leads you not far from his own room, back into that sort of. It was, I don't know, like a antechamber for religious ceremonies. And he leads you to a large double door, the only set of doors aside from the balcony door and the door you guys came through into that one room. And then he knocks. And the only sound that can be heard is just his fingers rapping upon this iron door in this room. And it's sort of, the sound is very ominous. And for a moment, there is nothing. And then the doors just open of their own, seemingly of their own accord. They turn inward into a dark room, and Ren steps, and as he kind of takes a step up, he goes, "It always made me nervous coming into this room."
Why?
Well, it just seems like a place of reverie, a place that you can't be too loud, like a church.
That's gonna change.
No. Okay. And he steps in, and as you follow, you enter a it's like a semicircular room. It's structured kind of like an amphitheater. As you step in, there are some tiered high rises that lead up to a throne on the back wall, and the throne itself is very dark and seems to be covered with it's so dark it's almost like staring at a silhouette, and it seems to be covered with tiny little spikes. Two horns are coming off of the top of the throne, and large rubies are set in like eyes at the top of the high-backed throne. And then down the tiered steps are these grooves in the ground that fan out almost like wings, and they're filled in with this lightly glowing pinkish sand. And you can make out about 10 feet above you along the curved part of this semicircle are what look like I had the word a minute ago. Not banisters, but like places where people stand at like plays or whatever and watch.
Balcony-
What's that?
Balconies?
Balconies. That's the word. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah, little balconies, like single-person balconies that overlook this room. And Ren comes in and kneels, and as he does, you see the woman sitting on the throne. And she stands. She's wearing a very like long flowing dress with like a tight corset. It's mostly made of red fabrics with a dark bluish bits coming off of the waist, and then she has a long high necked robe. Horns protrude from her head and sort of spiral upward, and her hair seems to be done up into them, and it's also very high and very regal. Her skin is very pale, and yet her eyes are very dark with just heavy makeup. But the color of them is piercingly red. As she takes a few steps down and looks at you all and smiles slightly, revealing two sharp fangs, and says, "So, you have finally made it here, Ellie. I can't say that I'm surprised."
Does she just for like clarification, she doesn't look like what she looked like in the dream?
No,
What?
she does
No.
not look like what she looks like in the dream. In the dream, she was very beautiful and very alluring. In real life, she's very sinister.
Hmm. Most
And
importantly,
everything about her,
yeah, most
good.
importantly, did not appear as a tiefling
tiefling.
the
yes,
first time. Yeah.
that's true. Also, everything about her just screams judgment.
Ellie just sort of like cocks her head slightly. Well, yeah, of course I did.
Well, should we be about it then? And as she says that, the doors slam. You look behind you and see there was no way that they could have moved on their own. No one standing behind them. How long does your magic vision last there, Eigner?
10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, but you definitely see for a moment like shadowy hands. And actually, in your sight, it's more like a flash of light, and then they dissipate.
Mm. Anything I can dispel around here?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. I'll keep that in my back pocket.
Leah's gonna look at Ren and see what he thinks about all of this posturing, this behavior from Siren, the slamming of the doors, everything. She's curious.
Ren is he's kneeling, like he was kind of posture, and he's looking at her, and then he's looking at you, and you know them?
To
It-
her,
it's-
right?
He's asking.
He's asking her, and she is just blatantly ignoring him.
Where is she stood, like, in relation to him?
She is standing just a few steps down from her throne. There's maybe 6 steps, and he is not even at the bottom of the steps kneeling. He's only about 10 feet into the room. The room itself is about 30 feet from door to throne, and then about 40 feet from the deepest part of the crescent from corner to corner.
Ellie's gonna step in front of Ren, so that, like, she can't see him anymore. Ideally. So, like, she doesn't even feel like talking, but shall we be about removing whatever it has you have on him and letting us, and we'll leave? Yeah?
Oh, I thought we would go about this differently. I was under the impression you were coming here to offer yourselves to me. That's disappointing.
I think Ellie would just like laugh and then just start to like. This is like a laugh that no one has probably ever heard from her. It's almost on the edge of like madness kind of laugh.
Nice.
It's like I have no idea what would have given you that impression.
You care for your brother. And she looks very pointedly at Ren as he begins to open his mouth, and then his eyes go hazy. And he just sort of slumps to his side. And you want to be with him, so what better way to do that than to devote yourself to his service as his maid?
She reaches to her sword at her side and says, I already told you how this is gonna go.
Siren's jaw tightens, and she says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And you kind of see movement out of the corner of your eyes, and as your eyes are sort of drawn to it, there is something moving in the shadows of the balcony. And then Siren's eyes fall on Leah, and her lips just curl back, and revealing her fangs again. So, Shard has sent one of her slivers into my throne room. Perhaps this will not go as I expected at all.
I'm not Shar's.
You bear her marks.
I belong to no one.
If only you believed that. And then she kind of looks at Eigner and says, and another, you all belong to someone. Except you, Ellie. So why not belong to me? The rest of your companions have already bound themselves to their gods.
Honestly, lady, I would rather belong to the bitch that has Eigner all tied up than you.
It?
Mic drop.
Oh yeah. We'll see about that. And then, as she says that, she just locks eyes with you. And I want you to make a wisdom save, Ellie.
I get +0. 12.
Okay. I'm gonna type really loud for a second. Alright, so as she locks eyes with you, you see the throne room begin to brighten. And Ren is no longer laying beside you, but he is sitting on the throne. Siren is, kind of sitting at the foot of the throne in a place of servitude. And he looks up at you and says, "Oh, sister, I'm so pleased that you're here. Siren was just explaining to me all of her sins and how she's going to make it all up to us. And, well, I have to thank you for breaking me of her enchantments."
What does, like, how much does Ellie think that this is real? Like, what has the spell done to her? Like, mind?
It's mostly done is just taken her out of an awareness of the current situation and put her in the center of this illusion. and she can't perceive what's happening around her in reality.
But she knows that it's not, like, real.
There's very good reasons for her to believe it's an illusion.
And does Siren look all tiefling?
She looks as weak as you've ever seen her, or as weak as you can imagine her. So, yeah, she looks a little more red than pale. Her horns are broken off, and she's wearing ragged, torn down clothes. And she is, her eyes are averted from you. She won't make eye contact at all.
I'll just say, no. This is just another one of her illusions.
What is Leah doing?
Leah is, Leah, I don't think Leah has noticed what is happening with Ellie right now. She has, from the moment that Siren said something about Shar, she's just started looking around to try and piece together what Siren is and why Siren would know about this goddess that everyone thought didn't even know existed and or thought was dead. Since that was a very ancient goddess that we confronted in the temple. So she's starting to look around and just try to figure out what Siren is.
Okay.
Did I do a perception?
Yeah, I'll give you a perception or investigation, depending on if you're gonna just kind of study and look around, or if you're gonna actually move around the room.
It's more of she's not going to move around just yet. She just wants to take things in and see what she can make of them. Mm-hmm. So perception?
Yeah, perception would be great.
That'd be a 19.
All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap as we go through this. As you had traveled through this temple, you'd gone through that room with the broken floor with the spikes in the bottom and the statue in the center that was really worn and damaged. Some of its features you now are recalling to look similar to that of Shar. And as you are taking in this room, and upon first appearance, the idea that the grooves on the ground came out from the throne like wings. You didn't put it together, but at first, but there's something kind of menacingly moth-like about the whole setup of the throne room, which
would there have been?
I don't believe there was anything with Shar itself that connected you to a moth, or her to a moth, to anything moth-related, but it does. Everything about this screams like a place that was designed to be worshipping Shar. Okay. But the glowing sand in the grooves is what speaks to you the most.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
Well, I guess I can go investigate it. My investigate is not strong, but I guess because I really wouldn't know what I'm looking at, but I am curious about it now. I would go over and look at the glowing sand.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm looking up something really fast. While I look this up, what is Eigner doing?
Hopefully Eigner still got his detect magic a-going, and he is scanning the room for magical threats, perhaps things that he could dispel to help with the whole thing. If he's able to pick up what's happening to Ellie, like if he realizes that Ellie is completely wrapped up in illusion magic at the moment, or maybe it's an enchantment effect. Whatever it is that's happening to Ellie, if he feels like he can get rid of that, he could try to do that. Um, but yeah, he is like really relying on his magical sensing right now to pick up any things about his surroundings.
Okay. So there is, a fair amount of magic in this room. A lot of it is well decayed, like much of the magic that had filled the area prior. Um, but there's definitely the movement coming through the balconies is a magical projection of a sort. But there's also just strong bonds going from the throne to Shar, and they are structured like chains and manacles. And
To Shar or to Siren?
to Siren, I'm sorry. When Ellie, kind of bends, or Leah bends down, and she just maybe scoops up a handful of the dust, she hears Shar's voice in her head. These are the bones of my fallen people, stained in their blood, all because of what this woman has done to us. She has defiled the tiefling, and she has been bound for it.
So it'd be bad to dispel the chains?
Yeah, don't do that.
It would be bad to
don't-
dispel the chains.
Don't do that? Okay.
I think Leah will actually whisper to Eigner, Siren is bound here. I think by Shar.
Oh, okay. Then I won't do what I was planning on doing then.
Siren is going to stand up from her position of submissiveness in Ellie's illusion, and take a few steps down, still with her head bowed and her hands kind of behind her back. Child, life is an illusion. All of it is. We just have to choose the one that we would like to live.
Oh, no! That doesn't even make sense, lady. Can I pull out my sword now? Like, even if it's in the illusion, I don't know if she's doing this in real life. But yeah, pull out my sword and march towards her. I don't know if she was how close she was.
You would be able to, make them walk all the way to her.
And then push the sword so the tip is up to her neck.
Mhm.
And tip her head forward, up so I can see her.
Mhm.
You're not gonna trick me or keep me here with your, frankly, half-assed illusions. Someone who was clever about this would make people actually believe that that's where they were.
Same.
She smiles as you've got your sword to her throat and says, "You truly believe that the room you walked into is reality?"
Mind games.
To be honest, I don't really give a shit whether you're sitting in some weird, dark, throne room, or if you're sat in a small stone prison cell, or if we're outside in a field and there's flowers and stuff. I don't care. All I care about is removing your head from your shoulders and then taking Ren home.
And what happens if the head you remove isn't mine? What if it's... And her visage changes, and now Ren is the one you have your sword to, and Shar is sitting on... Or Siren is sitting on the throne. Ah, too many S names.
Getting a little mixed up, huh?
kind of blinks a little bit, and then shakes her head. I know that whoever's head I remove in this, whatever you've got going on now, isn't gonna be the real you or the real him. She's not quite sure about that bit. She's sure it's not gonna be her, but she's not sure that Siren's not gonna put Ren in the way. So there's probably a little bit of a falter in that when she says that. But either way, you're gonna let me out of this because you just are. And I mean, my friends aren't here, and so they'll just kill you instead. That's fine.
I mean, it's probably not fine, but
I'm gonna go ahead and roll me another wisdom save.
15.
Okay. As you say that, the image melts away. The room becomes dark again. You are holding on to the air with your sword drawn, and Siren has taken a few steps down from where she was standing before. The shadows or the darkness of the top of the room has sort of grown to the point that you can't even see the balconies anymore. Ren is still laying on his side, but Darun has stepped forward, hefting his halberd, and says, "What are we all standing around for? Why don't we just drive this through her heart and be done with it?"
Oh, see, now I'm not sure if we're in the real one. God damn it.
well, I don't know. Does Eigner's detect magic work through illusions?
Depends on who the illusion's on.
I will then I'm just gonna march towards where she is. Sword's still out.
Alright. Well, as you do, she reaches a hand out, offeringly, and a wisp of shadow just swipes right over your head. And as you look up, you see a large hand, just covered in darkness, begin to pull its way back towards the balcony. It's like an emo kid's mage hand.
What? Sorry, what was the end of that?
It's like an emo kid's mage hand.
What she
The
did,
Joker.
sorry.
Oh,
I mean,
it pulled back to the balcony.
Alright, okay, it's just me. But is her hand still out?
Yeah.
I am gonna take a swipe at that hand because that's what Ellie does.
Classic.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Oh. It's not gonna hit. It's not gonna hit. It's like a 3 plus. Well, no, to be fair, I get a plus like 12 or something. So, 15.
A 15's not gonna hit.
Yeah.
But, it was worth a try. She just laughs as she swiftly steps back up the step and says, "You're going to have to do better than that if you're going to want to kill me."
I'm just warming up.
So, Ellie and Eigner, what are you guys up to?
Yeah,
Does
I'm not...
Leah?
Sorry. No, you.
Does Leah still feel like Shar is a presence in her mind?
Yeah. Like you could
She'll-
ask her a question or three.
Yeah, like she's gonna ask Shar, what can we do to destroy her?
To destroy her might give her what she wants. Freedom. There is a death, or freedom in death.
She has entangled people we wish to free. if her death is the only way to free them, then I'm willing to give that to her.
I say you take what you want and leave her in this rotten place.
How can we do that without killing her?
Her powers are smoke and mirrors, just illusions. You don't have to look at them.
Well, that was less helpful than I wanted. Also, don't expect me to make a habit of this.
I don't.
Sure.
Just keep in mind that she has practice at manipulating other people. Sometimes the best way to fight fire is with fire.
Not if I can help it.
Well, you don't feel her presence anymore.
No, good. Leah was going to try and figure out how to make that happen anyway. So she's like, kind of shakes her hands off, like it's symbolic of nope.
Yep.
I've got this. Whatever Shar says, I'm not going to do.
So,
except she. Oh, go on.
Good.
Sorry.
No, finish
She is
it.
actually going to go over to. I guess she's probably near Eigner anyway, because they've been discussing the whole thing with Siren. But she is going to relate that information that Shar says that Siren may be courting death in order to be free of her chains, and that it is possible for us to remove her influence without killing her, and that everything is an illusion, even her power, perhaps.
Okay.
And then Leah is going to try and go over and tell Ellie this too, but I don't know what Ellie's doing at the moment, so...
Ellie has made her way to the foot of the throne and has begun to take swipes. And Eigner, you hear the heavier footsteps of Darum and can make out his voice talking lowly as he is checking on Ren to make sure that he's okay.
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 Eigner might go help in the effort to go check on Ellie and inform Ellie of the important news to not kill Siren. And, yeah. Just keep thinking that maybe Eigner needs to try and dispel all the illusionary stuff that Ellie is afflicted by right now.
So, Ellie,
My part.
as you have taken a swing at Siren, and she's just sort of danced up the steps. She says, "I can do this all day. You can be trapped in illusions with me for as long as you wish." And as she says that, she begins to split into several versions, and two of her just reach at you from behind. And you feel the sharp stab of fingernails digging into your neck as you take 10 points of psychic damage. What are you going to do?
Shriek, probably. Yeah, let out like a audible groan. And then try and swing at the things behind me.
Alright, make an attack roll.
Nice.
Oh, 19 plus 12.
Okay. Eigner,
Nice.
Oh no.
does a
Hit me.
19 plus 12 hit you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Hit me! Hit
The
me!
second I said two of them show up behind
didn't-
you, you guys knew where this was
Oh,
going.
yeah.
I
Absolutely.
didn't. It didn't click.
That's why I kept saying nice.
I don't know. Should we do it two-handed?
Hit me.
She's in a rage about the one who's trying to imprison her brother. What do you think?
Probably two-handed.
do the most damage?
Yeah, like, would she do her arcane jolt as well? Like, how, like, is she? Because she knows that these are probably illusions, though, so she probably wouldn't use it, like, as
Look,
power.
whatever you
So,
want to do
14.
is totally cool. 14?
14 points of radiant damage.
Okay, alright. Well, actually, that's interesting because Eigner has something about I'm
Resistance to
resistant. All right, so
Oh, because your shield, huh?
yeah, because I'm a shield, and actually, it's my armor that does that
Oh.
as well. Of the armor of the goddesses, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You get a lot of gods happening.
Oh yeah.
Goddesses, actually.
Oh yeah. Now I'm a fucking cleric. So Eigner will take less damage, and it doesn't seem to bother him too much, but he still says, "Fuck, what, Ellie?" And he'll yell to try and get Ellie's attention and hope that gets through the illusion.
Make a saving throw with advantage. Ellie.
Me. 9. The other one was a crit fail.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, so you hear hissing in your face, Ellie! And then she lunges forward with her fingers outstretched, long claws dripping with your blood. Does a 21 hit your AC?
Yes.
All right. So that is another 11 points of psychic damage as she just claws at your face.
Okay.
What do we see
As
as far as what Siren is doing?
Siren has taken to sitting back on her throne and, steepling her fingers and watching intently as Ellie takes a swing at Eigner. And then, you see Ellie stumble backward as the illusion I described happens. And I want Ellie to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ellie?
Ellie, yeah, because you're about to be tripped up by steps.
That's 18.
Okay. So you your foot catches and you're able to get yourself to back on your feet and take a few steps steps up the steps before tripping backward.
So
But yeah, you guys see her kind of stumble up the steps a little bit.
So I fall down, like, on my butt?
No, you don't fall. You're able
Alright.
to kind of keep yourself. You stumble a little bit, but you ever tried to walk upstairs and realize that you misjudged it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
Leah will hiss to Eigner, try to dispel it.
All right. Does Eigner still have detect magic going on?
Mhm.
Does he see a persistent illusionary effect surrounding Ellie? Or enchantment? One of the two will probably be it.
Yeah, so you see those shackles going from Siren's wrists to the throne, and then she's got her fingertips steepled, and then inside of her fingertips is this ball of energy, and from it protrude little tiny chains that are made of illusory magic that are stretched out and attached to a manacle around Ellie's throat.
They look like they're the same power that is shackling Siren, or
it's an illusion spell, or yeah, it's an illusion and a charm effect.
What was that?
It's an illusion and a charm effect. I don't know
Okay.
what charm magic would be, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to focus primarily on the actual manacle that's around Ellie's neck. But if that targets the whole effect, the whole chain that goes back to her hands and the ball of energy, then that's cool too. If it's all part of the same thing. But I'll focus on the manacle and just try and just visualize that manacle going like pop and popping into a billion pieces. So if it's a spell of 3rd level or lower, it automatically ends. If it is 4th level or higher, I'll need to make a check.
All right. Give me a second. I need to look up spells. Okay, it is a spell of higher than 3rd level.
Shit. Okay. The DC equals 10 plus the level of the spell.
Okay. So
Don't fail me now, old blue. Don't fail me now. I rolled a 12 plus my wisdom of 3 makes it 15.
that will work.
Old blue!
So yeah. The illusion around Ellie just shatters like glass. And you see that you have your sword drawn pointed at Eigner. And Leah is standing not too far from him, looking worried, and Ren is on the ground, but he seems to kind of be stirring. Darun is at his side, trying to help him to his feet. What are you going to do?
Well, I mean, if I may, because I'll be able to tell immediately when the shackle is broken, the manacle is broken, and shit. I'm going to try get some information to Ellie like super quick, and just I'll just say, Ellie, we can't kill Siren. It's what she wants. We have to keep her imprisoned here.
Oh, I think Ellie's getting confused now. I think, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think
wait,
she's be like,
he'll also say, also you stabbed me.
I think she'll like take another step backwards up the steps and like shake her head and just kind of like wave her sword at Eigner, and be like, again, I don't understand why you keep on doing illusions where you give unbelievable information.
Shit.
Like, obviously, you're gonna have Eigner tell me not to kill you. Like, this is just like back in the other one where you couldn't even give me the correct information, and then she'll spin and look at Siren on the throne, and keep trying to walk up towards her.
Ellie.
Yeah, as you spin, Siren is like just pushes herself up on the throne and says, "You're right. I'm the one who stole your brother after all and twisted his mind to forget you. What fool wants to die? Certainly not me." And then she like draws a sword of the shadow, much like the drow have done, and points it at you and says, "So, shall we finish it then?" And then raises it and charges toward you. And we're gonna take a break there.
I just want to say for the record that while Siren takes the shadow sword out and everything, Eigner has been griping like from behind, saying shit like, "Ellie, I'm just getting so tired of this. Like, you're acting crazy, and by the way, I can only do that trick so many times. I won't be able to help the next time." And then Ellie's just totally like ignoring him because she's dismissed him as an illusion. Get no respect around here. Ignorbosh, he's doing all the heavy lifting, all the heavy dispelling, as it were, and get no respect. So anyways, enough of Eigner griping. Let's take our break, and if you want to join us, again, join us in about 15 minutes, and we'll get this crazy fight on the way. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Mario.